Hello and welcome back to another week at DroneDJ. This week we've got more stories on the potential US drone ban on DJI. Along that note, there is also a new enterprise payload from DJI on the H30 and H30P. Those are pretty much our headline stories. Before we cover some of the other industry updates, let's kick off with the big topic of the week is pretty much another potential drone ban, right?
Yep.
Let
Yeah.
me
So
story
the
from DroneDJ.
Congress is looking at upping tariffs this time. So there's what's called what's the name of the act again? Counter CCP Drone Act. So pretty much that law is pretty much going to be attempted to ban. I think it's to ban all Chinese-made drones from using the FCC wavelengths to communicate, which is basically you need to have that at all to fly your drone. Like you can't, if that happens, then
That's your communications pretty
you're
much.
done. Yeah, any drone is pretty much done. I don't think there's gonna be a grandfather clause on that. I think it's just straight up you're done. Like any drone from China won't be able to communicate between your controller and the drone. However, before they can get that, hasn't been able to get. They're hoping on a vote. I have to check and see when it's lined up to vote, but they're hoping to get it, voted on in the House. You don't know anything about politics. You have to pass both the House and the Senate. The Senate is usually harder on these things than the House. But they're trying to get it passed through the House. But before that, they're apparently promoting new tariffs. So I think is it a 30% tariff? Is that what that is?
30%, right?
So, but it's 5% over.
30% increase on current tariffs.
Yeah, it's an increase of 5% over a couple of years, is what I believe it is. So you're not like all of a sudden instantly 30%. It's going to be like effective probably later this year or next year, plus 5%.
And along that note, if you remember some of our previous videos where I have the IP address Canada and Kirk have US, we both looked at the DJI website and we saw the US pricing is actually higher than Canada.
Yeah, so it's already like US already has higher tariff. I think it's like it's a 25% already. I think a tariff on Chinese drones. We already have a tariff on Chinese-made drones, and they are higher. Or I think it's Chinese products in general. So they are DJI drones in the States are higher than they are in Canada, probably in Europe as well. I haven't checked those prices and conversions, but this is just going to make it worse. So their idea is that their thinking is that this is going to somehow help U.S. innovation and U.S. companies, but there are practically what they're doing is they're going to stifle an entire industry away from being able to use drones.
Well, first of all, who's paying for the increased tariffs?
Well, yeah, the cost is coming. Like, when you look at tariffs, think of just that's a 25% increase on your product, a 30% increase on what you're paying for the drone. Like that's
because
tariffs
DJI isn't going to eat that cost.
Yeah, because tariffs go straight to the consumer. So we're practically paying a 30% increase. So anytime you want to get a drone, it's going to be it's just going to be more. The issue is that also goes to Autel. It's not just DJI. It's also going to be Autel. And so those two are really the only two companies that are making consumer product drones. And there's no competition for them right now. Like I think there's that Japanese company, right? That's possibly making one.
They're still in the making.
But were they enterprise though, or were they?
They were enterprise. They were not.
Yeah. So here's the issue: is that there are plenty of enterprise options. Are they better? No. Like every time, like I mean, New York. There was also another story about New York City. Increasing their drone use, and they have like the majority of their drones at DJI, and they were talking to the state and how they don't like the use of DJI, and they're like, well, tell the CEOs that the U.S. companies, their drones suck. Like we can't, like, we're not going to use subpar technology for our police officers because we care about them. We want to have the best.
For that New York story as you're talking.
It should be at the top. It's like the second or third article in from last couple of days.
Right there, yeah.
Right there, yeah. And so there's kind of like, well, like we would love to switch over to US made drones, but they are not as good as DJI drones. So that's on enterprise where there's options, but they're not as good. For consumer, for the video production, there are no good options.
Well, the larger, if you want to commit to buying, a free fly system.
Yeah, free fly. Yeah.
Where you put a Red Dragon or Alexa Mini, then
yeah,
there are options.
What's the base flight price on just a blank free flight
The
system?
drone is actually not that expensive from free flight, but the cost is on your gimbal and the camera.
Yeah. So if
You
you
would
want
have
to
to
throw
be
like,
committed to a $150,000 camera to put on the drone.
well, I mean, you could probably get a gimbal, get like, I don't know, maybe get like a
You
cheaper
can put
gimbal.
your mirrorless camera on it too.
Yeah, you could throw like
Yeah.
a stone, like a point and shoot camera on it.
Yes, $20,000 drone with a point and shoot camera. How expensive can it be?
Yeah. So but there's no like competition for like the Mavic 3, for the Mini 3 or Mini 4, or the Air. Like there's those line of cameras. Like there's no competition to. The only competition for those is Autel, who is also in the same boat as DJI right now. Because if DJI gets an FCC ban, then so does Autel. There's no, you can't single out a company. It has to be,
No, and let me
nation.
put it this way: as drone users, do we want to see competition? Do we want to see more options? Of course, we do, right?
Yeah. I want to see a U.S. company go head to head with DJI. It's just the fact that we had a U.S. company. It was called Skydio, and they, shut
They're
down
not
their consumer.
offering camera. Yeah, they actually moved.
Yeah, they shut down their consumer product. Yeah.
Again, from a government perspective, I understand they want to have a good domestic product, but look at what they did. They came up with the Blue SUAS. They got Skydio pretty much, a really good military contract. And what happened to the company? They said, okay, we're only military or commercial. We don't want the camera drone market anymore. We lost it.
Well, they knew that they couldn't compete with DJI at this point. Like, I mean, I think the Mavic 3 came out, and they're just kind of like, oh, this.
Hey, but let's have some hope. Just because you can't compete right now, you have the U.S. government support, you have regulation on your side, right? You have the public support. You at least try it.
You would think that like someone at Skydio,
don't just turn away from the market. Like, why don't you at least try it?
You would think though, at some C-suite level, executive meeting, when they were talking about getting rid of the consumer line at Skydio, that they would be like, okay, let's look 5 years out. What might be a possibility 5 years out? And I think back then, like, it was very clear that there was possibly a ban of DJI coming out in the next 5 to 10 years. Like, there was already talks about it.
You have a huge market gap.
So why would, if Skydio thought that they wanted to stay with consumer products for the next 10 years, that they would be like, oh yeah, cool, like there's going to be if DJI is going to possibly get banned, like we should keep with Skydio because that's going to be, it might not be good for the next 5 years, but after that, like it's going to be amazing. But they didn't. Like they're I think they're just done with consumer products. Skydio 2 is good.
That was their announcement. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just done. I don't think Skydio is coming back. I mean, they would be the only one who could, even though I honestly don't like their drone that much. Like it's not an intuitive system to fly that much. Like it is a free flying system versus DJI, which is
the first DJI drone was terrible too. At least you can working on that.
Their ideology was different. Like we need to turn off somehow. It shows up every time. Their ideology is different. Was that the drone flies itself versus you flying the drone, which led to just it not being an enjoyable process to use, at least for me. I know our publisher, Seth Weintraub, has had great success with it on snowboarding, which is practically what it's used for. Right? That's he's using it exactly what it's supposed to be for a system where you're not supposed to be flying it manually yourself. But if I go out to a shoot and I am manually flying it, I want to be 100% control of that drone. And I never felt 100% in control of it. It's always felt like I was suggesting to it what to do. And when you're like flying it, like maybe like 10 feet above water with a boat, shooting a commercial for an outdoor company on a boat, you want to be in 100% control of that drone. If you're going to mess up, that's your fault. But if all of a sudden your drone just decides to like move out of the way for a wave or something, or a branch or something, and it just like it hits the boat, like because it decided to do it versus what you're doing, like it's not a great ideology for what DJI has mastered. And
along that line,
there isn't a DJI replacement.
I know. Along that line, DJI also came out with a public statement to urge pilots to get involved as the threat of U.S. drone ban This is also the first time that they've actually come out to start, asking people to get involved, right? Before, I remember past couple of years, there wasn't much of a public announcement or response from DJI in general about the US ban. But in the past little while, first we saw DJI coming out with a detailed response on the potential security, right? Because the ban is based on the potential data and security issues from the Chinese manufacturer. So DJI came out with a detailed release outlining how they're handling the security protocol, how data is not being sent, to the Chinese headquarters.
Yeah.
And then DJI came out with the second announcement asking pilots to get involved. So they're actually really starting to react to this now.
I'm interested in seeing how this plays out because TikTok did the same thing before they had a ban signed, and that kind of backfired on them. Pretty much what happened if you don't know what happened with TikTok is when they had their ban or near the ban, they put out like a little message in their app saying, hey, call your representatives and tell them not to ban us, which led to a bunch of teenagers and like younger, like a bunch of teenagers pretty much calling their representatives saying, don't ban my app, don't whatever. And it pretty much proved everything that the Congress was saying that TikTok was controlling the youth of today by doing this. So it didn't really work out for TikTok's favor. It still got banned. It'd be interesting to see how this plays out because this is not marketed towards like teenagers and whatnot. Like if actual like users of their especially DJI enterprise products call, like they're gonna get calls from like BP, like they're gonna get calls from like people who like do like gas line inspections and law enforcement and firefighters. Like they're not going to be getting calls from people they can just like push down to the side and say they don't matter. Like they're going to have to like actually listen to those industries. So but also like it's very much the same ploy that TikTok did, and that didn't really go over well with products that Chinese companies convincing people to do something. Usually Congress doesn't like that, but I don't know. It's like, okay, cool. Like, well, what else are you supposed to do? Like, it's the drone of choice for all of these industries.
Yeah, it feels like a dead end because if you're influencing, the citizens and having them to go against their government to a degree, I don't think any government would like that. But if you don't do that, then no one's gonna get involved or speak for you. I'm not a lobbyist. I don't know how, what is the best approach in this case. I guess as the case develops, we shall see because we talked about this before, right? It's mostly political. Do we know on the back end what kind of data is sent or may be sent? We don't know. Would be nice if some, IT specialist or data security specialist or cybersecurity specialist comes out with a report, right? A trustworthy report.
It would be nice if there was either Congress comes out and just lays out all the proof because they haven't done that. I haven't been watching a lot of the hearings, but they could be saying that it's classified. I don't care. Like if you're going to be banning a consumer product, literally 90% of an industry, product for an industry, like you kind of have to come out and declassify that. Anyways, DJI studies are all DJI funded, so you can't necessarily. I mean, I think there's some that's independently done, but like it's all coming through DJI, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. There's been no like true 100% third party, not involved with anyone else saying DJI products are safe, which sucks because someone has to pay for it. So DJI pays for it, then it's tainted by DJI. If Congress pays for it, then you want to trust Congress.
Oh, maybe someone should start a GoFundMe. I say let all drone users put money in here and have a third party company to come do an analysis.
That'd be great. A crowdfunded, study that actually would probably be worked out pretty well. Like if there was a crowdfunded through everyone, but also like there's a lot of money. We'll see.
Well, would they stop the 30% tariff?
Probably not. It's all political.
No.
Yeah. I feel like this is easier to stop than the TikTok ban because the TikTok ban just seemed like everyone was on board with this. And this one just seems like it's probably going to go through because it's on the tail end of TikTok. So like no one's talking about this. Like it's weird. Like everyone was talking about TikTok. Like, every podcast was to like every commentary person was talking about the TikTok ban, but then it's done and no one's talking about DJI. And DJI has, I think it's if TikTok bans and goes away, like, okay, you have Instagram Reels, you have Facebook Reels, you have YouTube Shorts, like whatever. If TikTok, if DJI goes away, it can no longer be used. Like that, there really is no alternative for some people. And if there is, they probably either can't afford it, whether or not they're a company or an individual, or it's just not better. It's just not safe, not good enough for what needs to be done with it.
I don't know what would happen if DJI get banned and then local law enforcement agencies can no longer use DJI drones to conduct search and rescue. I don't know how much is being used in states, but even our local regional agencies are using it on a regular basis. On a weekly basis, they're actually not very public about it, but on a weekly basis, their drones are going out to find elderlies who have dementia, who have issues, who just went out, got lost in the trails, and drones were able to find them. Right. So how much of those rescue?
I don't know about here in Milwaukee. I know there's a lot of cities with drone units. I think I talked to a county sheriff, where they said they were using it almost every day. So I don't know what for. Not necessarily everything for search and rescue, but he just said they were being used every day. And I think they use Autel. I think it's what their primary system is. I think they were actually just about to order. Well, that's why I talked to them. They were going to order the Max 4Gs. So to replace their Evos. So yeah, maybe I got to reach out to all this. I know a couple cities who have drone units, so maybe we should reach out and see if they're willing to talk.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of let's wait and see, right? So purchases will definitely be on hold, especially for government departments.
Yeah. Well, I think they purchased them last year. So, like, they probably already have them. They probably just got them. It's just like the worst way of doing it. You just get it, and all of a sudden now you know it might not be sticking around.
Right. Along that note, DJI did just release a new H30, which is the payload series. So previously we were on H20 and H20T. That was the photogrammetry and the thermal-based payloads for the M350 series. So now we're seeing the third gen, right? That's the H30 series, which H30 and H30T.
Yeah, we got the embargoed this to cover, and of course we don't get review units of this stuff, but
this is
always cool stuff.
Like, it's not your mainstream drone product. But if you've ever seen some of the larger, starting from back in M200, and then we have M300. Now this year we're on the Matrix 350. I actually just helped the client yesterday with M350. The payload is substantial, right? So the data you capture, the accuracy level, everything is definitely very different than even if you imagine how well the quality is on just your Mavic 3 Pro.
Yeah,
this is much better than that, right?
Yeah, it's a whole nother world of drone flight. That I don't understand really at all. But they get some crazy hardware in these things. So.
But this just shows that companies are committed to. You're looking at, with the drone, with multiple payloads, with different options, you're looking at 60,000 plus, right? In everything, and that's not a cheap purchase.
Yeah. On the T. Is that like a thing that moves over in front of the camera, like for near infrared? If you
I haven't checked the detailed specs for them. You mean?
Is that like that's off to the side? It looks like that like rotates down in front of that camera. See that the little like lens off to the right? That one, yeah. I don't know if that's like for a side camera or that like rotates.
No, I haven't even looked too much into the specs.
Yeah.
It's just announced yesterday. So I'm going to talk to my tech team, especially on the enterprise. I mean, the specs aren't that easy to interpret, right? So I'm going through with my tech team, and I'll probably have more information next week. But going back to the potential ban is, imagine an organization committed to $60,000 of equipment. This is very heavily used for construction, right? For construction, for civil engineering. With that amount of commitment on purchasing, and then along with software subscription, if that get banned, how does that even get written off, right?
Yeah. I just did a Google search. This is completely different, unrelated to what we're talking now, but to the ban. What if GoPro comes back?
Oh, Karma? Okay, if they come back, please don't name their drone Karma again.
I don't know if they can go out Karma, but like, what if GoPro comes out with a camera drone, just not anything crazy, not FPV, just like, hey, we're gonna take our action camera stuff and just throw it in a gimbal on a drone, and we're gonna like license drone check from someone, and just like, what if, because they would actually, I
What
think
if
they
I'll
could,
tell you the first thing, the stock price would go through the roof.
if they announced a drone right now, I guarantee their stock price would skyrocket up because of all the stuff with DJI. But like I don't know if it'll be good, but I know their stock price will go up.
This is not a suggestion, right?
No. I'm suggesting
a suggestion to any company or anyone.
No, DJI.
Highly speculation.
DJI, do it. This is a suggestion to you, DJI. I want you to start a drone. I want you to start a drone line again. That would be crazy, because I think they're the only company in the U.S. Them, Apple, Google would be the only three I could think of that could probably be. Well, Google wouldn't do it. They're a spin-off a company or buy a company. Apple wouldn't do it because that's not in their brand right now. But like they're the only three I think that have like good enough camera technology for their products already that could make a good drone.
It makes sense for a camera company to do it. Definitely.
It makes sense for GoPro to do it. It makes sense for Canon to do a drone. Sony already has a drone. I mean, but let
me ask this way. This is maybe why Japan has a couple of drone manufacturers coming up. But let me ask this way: what major camera brands are US?
None of them. They're all Asian, but they're all China. They're all outside of China though. So, is it Canon is Japan, right?
DJI did buy Hasselblad. DJI bought Hasselblad.
Did they?
Yeah. So Hasselblad is DJI.
Oh my gosh! Why did they not just make a Hasselblad drone with DJI Karma Hasselblad? Like, come on.
But like you said, Canon, Sony are Japan.
Oh no, you said DJI is a GoPro. Sorry, you said DJI bought Hasselblad.
Yeah, they did. Sorry. They bought Hasselblad.
Okay, gotcha. I'm like, okay, never mind. That makes sense.
But GoPro is American, right?
Yeah, GoPro. You said DJI, I thought GoPro. Yeah. Yeah, GoPro. Yeah, they're based out of California. So, but they manufacture, I think, overseas, which is what every company.
Who doesn't manufacture?
Who doesn't? Overseas? Although it's Skydio. Skydio manufactures here. But that would just
I would be interested in seeing how much of that material is it assembled in States or is it 100%?
It's probably assembled. I'm sure there's some stuff that comes overseas. Was it Canon headquarters? Let's see. Canon's Japan. Is Nikon also Japan?
Yes.
Yeah. So like either one of them, they came up with a camera drone. That was a consumer product one. That it would be I think it would be an extremely smart play. Because I think there's a very good chance that DJI gets banned because this is not a DJI is not, this ban is not a like TikTok where it's a divest, the company, or because I don't know how much the CCP is invested in DJI. I know there's something in the start of the company that I'm not necessarily.
Here's another note. This ban is solely based on if the FCC ban goes through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to ban the FCC stuff. Like that's so kind of like what the point is.
Communications. Now, can that backfire on any of the other products that are saying, if we have any products into States, potentially anything that has, because right now radio communications protocol is such a big thing, right? So would it be any products can potentially be banned through FCC if there's a potential national security threat?
Yeah, I mean, Chinese cell phones are already, are Chinese cell phones banned in the States already? I think it's, I don't like Huawei. Like Huawei, I don't think they're allowed to operate here in the States with FCC.
And is FCC, if there's an FCC ban, is there something, I guess with the radio communications protocol, there's no way DJI can bypass that to communicate between the controller and the drone, right?
No, you would have to use Bluetooth or something. No, Bluetooth you need FCC communicate approval to, right? Don't you? Do you need
I'm not a radio communications.
No. That would be, you'd have to use Bluetooth, but that would be a terrible product then if you relied on Bluetooth. Right. Yeah, you would need to have a radio system for it. Anyways, we could talk to this sort of blue in the face basically, but I want the end of this. I want everyone to walk away from this episode knowing that DJI needs to come back with a drone. That's my new mission in life.
Or GoPro.
No, it's like GoPro. GoPro needs to come out with the new Karma. That's what it is. That's the
My
new,
ask is please don't name it Karma. Name it anything but Karma.
I don't. Yeah, brand new wise, they cannot go with Karma. They would have to go with something different, but like the action drone or something. Wait, no,
It would be nice to
DJI's
see,
action.
yeah, it would be nice to see an
Here,
actual camera drone as an alternative, right?
yeah, they would be good. I think GoPro can do it. I think GoPro can. I believe in your GoPro. You're our only hope.
Well, on that note, let's keep following the story on what happens with this FCC ban on DJI because we covered it, I believe, a couple of months ago, and it seems to be developing rapidly. You know, as far as regulation goes, it usually is a long and slow process, but this one seems to be going through really quickly. So let's see if any major developments comes through at least before the main flying season, right? Before June, July.
Yeah, well, dude, if it happens mid-summer, that would be good. Because, like, I mean, also, although at this point we're getting really close to our election, so it might not
Even
happen
with the TikTok ban,
until the winter
I
again.
believe it is also pending. You know, after election, they're leaving it in the hands of the new president, right?
Yeah, so we have both. I think now. How does this? I have to, man. As an American, I should know what election we're coming up at. Is it the presidential election later this year, or is that next year? No, I think it's this year. Thank you. 2024 U.S. elections. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
We're gonna get a little strip at the bottom of our stream now, getting context about the U.S. election because we're talking about it.
Okay, so November, right? My guess is, say if this comes through, my guess is going to be similar to TikTok, where it would be pending the November election results, and it will be signed and decided by the new president. That's going to be my guess.
Yeah, I think at this point we are getting really close to the election, but man, people really, both sides really like banning things from China. So, like, it would be it's a win. It's sadly a win-win politically. So, although it would be a hell of a negative for certain
For actual
like,
operators,
for
right?
operators, like, man, this is there. Maybe there isn't a win. There's a win-win politically, I think, for like general America, but man, like, it is a huge negative if they want to get points for their local police departments and first responders and whatnot. So, those police and fire unions, you have the chance to endorse a candidate that's not anti-DJI. Just saying.
Well, that's all the story we got for you this week. We will come back next week. Have a nice weekend, everyone.